What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be covering the highly anticipated announcement of Ableton Live 10. I've got an advanced beta copy of it, and over the next few minutes I'm going to be giving you guys a first look under the hood and covering some of my favorite new features. There's a lot of juicy new upgrades to cover, so let's buckle up and get right into it. Intro. All right, guys, here it is, Ableton Live 10. This is how it looks when it loads. Now, I have Live 9 open at the same time, so we can flip back and forth between them, and I just want to show you some of the immediate differences that you'll notice. One of them is we have a new high DPI interface. We have updated fonts and some updated colors. If you look up top, you'll also see we have new icons, and we have different hover states. So if you look at Live 9, you'll see these icons are now broken out. They're a little bigger, spread out a little bit more, and we've got different hover states on these buttons right here. So the first big new feature I want to show you guys is called Capture, and it's right up here. And what it does is it allows you to retroactively grab MIDI information. And this is really useful for me as I kind of jam. I'm a keyboard player, and I play the Akai Iwi, which is a wind-based MIDI instrument, and it simulates a saxophone, which is what I play as an acoustic instrument. And I love jamming around on stuff, but you can be jamming around for quite a while, and then maybe you have one little part that you really dig and you weren't recording. What Capture does is it allows you to just kind of jam freestyle, and then if you come up with something that you like and you want to grab, you just hit Capture and it grabs the MIDI that you just played. So let's give this a shot. So I've got a synth lead preset loaded up, and I've got my Akai Iwi connected. So the synth lead sounds like this. And what I'm going to do is just jam in freestyle a couple of little riffs and hit Capture, and we'll see what we get. So here's our result. You can see what Live does is it will automatically try and detect the tempo. So it's grabbed it, and it thinks that I'm playing at 142 BPM, and it auto plays the MIDI clip as soon as you press Capture. So it's really intuitive to use, and it's quite useful for a jam and capture workflow. Let's take a look at how accurately it actually got what I played. So we'll drag the loop out here, and let's actually have a listen to it. So what I played was 2 phrases, 16 bars. And let's fire this off and listen to our result. All right, so the next thing I want to show you guys is an update to groups. And this is a big one. I really like being organized inside of Live, and group tracks are a wonderful way to do that. But I've always wanted to have nested groups, groups within groups. And I'm pleased to say that Live 10 has introduced this. So let's check out how it works. We are going to multi-select these 2 tracks right here, press Command G to group them. And now we're going to take another audio track, add it into the group. We'll take these 2, press Command G again, and now you'll see we have a nested group within the larger group. Very, very cool. Now, if we add in another track and we try and do that again, we can have another nested group. So we can have groups within groups within groups. And this is an amazing way to bus things and to stay organized. I build a lot of templates, and it's really useful to be able to grab things together, like, say, this is your drum bus, and then down you have your snares. You may have several different layers to your snares going on in here. and that allows you to have a bus just for the snares. And then inside there, you could have a bus where maybe you have one specific layered snare that uses a synth and uses some white noise and uses an audio sample, and that's just one of the snare sounds inside of the snare bus. Absolutely awesome. The next new feature I want to show you is multi-clip MIDI editing. So for me, when I'm songwriting, when I'm composing chords and melodies and harmonies, it can be a little convoluted because I'm trying to write a melody over top of chords, for example, and I need to know what notes are in the chords. And so usually what I do is I'll copy the MIDI from the chords track into my lead track, say, that's playing the melody, and then I'll mute the MIDI notes. But this gets a little messy and clutters up your MIDI track. Well, here is a super elegant solution. So we have a couple of clips that I've put in here, a little bass line and some chords, just to give you an example of a melody and a harmony, and I'm going to show you how this works. So we click on the MIDI track. We can see the colored MIDI notes here for the bass. Here's what the bass sounds like. All right, now we have the chords track and we can see the MIDI notes in there. Let's fire that off. Now here's where the fun comes in. If we highlight the melody or the bass, and then we multi-select and click the chords, you'll see I can actually view all of the MIDI information from both. So right now I have the chords highlighted, but if I hover my mouse over top of one of the MIDI notes in the bass melody, then I can switch back and forth between them all without leaving the single MIDI note editor. This is a hyper elegant songwriting and composition tool that's going to make the workflow in Live 10 so much more enjoyable, but also way faster. So just look at how easily I can move notes around. If I want to switch to the melody and I want to change one of the notes, boom, I'm right in there. Now, if I want to go back to the chords and I want to switch the chord up, say I want to do an inversion of the chord, boom, now I'm back to the melody. I want to change a note in the melody. There I am. Hyper easy, crazy fast workflow. This is definitely on my top 5 list of the new features in Live 10. Next up, I want to walk you through some epic upgrades to editing workflow, and in particular, some sweet new keyboard shortcuts. To demo this, I've got a drum and bass loop running at 170. Let's check this out. Okay, so we're going to use these new features to slice and dice this drum loop. The first one I want to show you is when you have something selected, there's a keyboard shortcut to zoom to selection. It automatically sizes it for you perfectly. You just press the Z key. Yes, guys, I am from Canada. We call it Z. If you're in America, you might call it Z. Same thing. If you want to zoom back out to exactly where you were, you press Shift Z. Boom. So let's go ahead and zoom back in and start editing this clip. So let's just loop up a bar here and check this out. Now, one feature I've wanted for a long time is a keyboard shortcut to reverse a clip. So let's go ahead and split this out. I'll just press Command E. And what you used to have to do was go in and actually press reverse down here. Click reverse. And that, for me, was just a little bit of a cumbersome workflow. Well, the prayers have been answered. You can now press the R key to seamlessly reverse a clip right from arrangement view. So now this is going to open up a ton of possibilities for loop slicing and speed up your workflow. Again, massive workflow improvements in Live 10. Next up is the new slide content feature. If you are hovering over an audio clip and you want to adjust the information that's inside the clip, you can simply press Shift and Alt, click and slide the content back and forth. So if I want to slide through this loop and find another drum hit and edit that, super easy. You don't even need to leave your current editing view. So let's check this out. Another thing I want you guys to notice is that clip fades are always visible now. You used to have to activate those either by right-clicking or using a keyboard shortcut, but you'll notice here we have little dots in the upper corner, and now we have clip fades that are constantly there. And that's also very, very useful if you're trying to prevent clicking on the edges when you're slicing things, or if you just want to fade something in. Again, super, super useful editing workflows. All right, I've got another awesome upgrade for you. And this one is a resize gesture that will stretch the audio information. So instead of having to go in and use warp markers to be able to stretch something out, you can do this right from Arrangement View. And you just simply do that by hovering on the edge of a clip, holding down the Shift key, and stretching it out. And now that will take that audio information and seamlessly stretch it for you. So let's listen to what that sounds like with the clip running. The final editing upgrade I want to show you is being able to use the 0 key to mute a selection instead of mute a clip. It used to be that you would select an entire clip, press 0, and the whole clip would deactivate. Now you can simply use a selection and it automatically creates a split and just mutes that area. Again, for creating kind of glitchy or choppy edits, this is just epic. In order to demonstrate this, I'm going to throw in a little vocal loop here. This is what it sounds like. We're going to use that Z key to zoom to selection because I have the vocal loop selected. Boom. Seamlessly sets the loop brace to the length of the clip. I'm just going to shorten things up now to the drum loop. Great. So let's go ahead and just loop up 4 bars like that. Press the Z key again. I just love that. That's going to save me so much time. We'll set our grid here so we can start muting different pieces of it and make that vocal loop a little choppy. Let's fire that off. And I'm just going to be selecting areas and then using the 0 key. So now what we've been able to do is use all of the new editing features to mess about with this drum loop, create a really sweet, choppy vocal, and we've never needed to leave Arrangement View. Our mouse has stayed in the exact same area. I love the fact that we don't need to switch views here and toggle back and forth between different editors. This is seamless. And for anybody who's into doing glitchy edits, chopping loops up, things like that, as is very common with electronic music, you are going to find this new feature set just an absolute powerhouse. Now we're going to take a look at some of the changes to the way automation works in Live 10. You'll notice that you can no longer show automation in the normal way. So if we have a parameter and we tweak it, normally what that would do is display the track automation right here. Now we have a new keyboard shortcut. If we want to show automation, we press the A key. And now what that'll do is show our automation lane. So A will toggle back and forth between showing and hiding automation. Handy. Now, the next thing I want to show you guys is that when you're drawing in breakpoints for things, you now have a snapping function. So to demo this, I have an audio effect rack that I built called the Glitch Bitch, and it's a little Swiss Army knife of different audio effects that I find really useful for DJing and for processing. If you guys want to grab this, it's available for free back at my site. I'll link you guys below. So let's just check out what we have in the Glitch Bitch. So let's go ahead and effects up this vocal loop using the glitch bitch and our new track automation. So what I'm going to do is click on a parameter, press the A key so it will highlight the automation lane. You'll see it automatically loads the name of that parameter right in there. And I'm going to start drawing in some automation. So let's go ahead and pick some effects. All right, so here's what we've wound up with. So what I'm going to do is put each one of these on its own lane. You can click the plus button underneath it, and that will show each one of these parameters in its own lane. I'll just do that real quick and then pop back with you guys. So now we've got everything showing in its own lane that has been automated. We can press A to show or hide that, and we can see everything all together. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is that automation and the breakpoints that are used to do that now snap, which is awesome. So we can snap these to rhythmical divisions based on our grid. So if I double click to draw a breakpoint, you'll see that now I'm moving this seamlessly vertically and it's snapping to the vertical axis. And if I want to move it left to right, you'll notice that it's snapping and it's not moving vertically. This is a really, really useful new feature that allows you to get super precise with your editing. Another thing I want to point out is as I'm moving the breakpoint up and down, you can see the parameter value changing. So it allows you to see exactly where your parameter is at on a scale of MIDI values from 0 to 127. Also very useful visual feedback there. The final thing I'll show you about automation is that directly from the automation lane, you can use the functions to split clip or to consolidate clips. I'm pressing Command E and Command J there, and you can do that now without actually having to go up to the audio clip itself. So there you have it. There's the improvements to automation workflow in Live 10. Up in the browser, you'll notice these new areas here under the heading Collections. And this is another sweet new feature where you can create kind of like smart playlists for things by adding a color to them. So let's say you're down in the sounds area and you find a particular synth lead that you like. And you want to save that to a list so that you can recall that at a future point. You right-click on it and you can change the color to a piece that is called a collection. You also have keyboard shortcuts right here that you can use. So let's color this blue. We now have a collection that shows up blue in the browser. And when we click on that, we see all of the different devices or sounds that have been tagged. So this is effectively meta information that's dynamic, and it allows you to really easily sort through your content. Let's go check out something else. Let's see if we can do that with a plugin. So let's say we go down here and we go to Serum, for example, and I add that to my blue list. I click on blue. Now all of a sudden Serum shows up. So we can do that with plugins. Now let's try it out with an audio sample. Let's go to one of our audio packs here. We've got Dark Side Funk. This is a Warp Academy pack that we built, and we've got drums. Let's go and take a look at a drum loop. I right click, and again, I have that context menu. I click on blue up in the collections, and I can see all of my different media types. Totally useful here. So if you're creating, say, how I would use this is if you're creating a sonic palette, a collection of sounds that you might want to use that's a particular genre or a particular style or aesthetic or feel, you can use these collections as a meta searchable smart playlist to be able to organize your content very quickly. If you have something in here and you want to get rid of it, you can simply go clear colors like that, and it will no longer appear in your list. So that's collections. So at this point, we've covered a lot of my favorite new features, a lot of the really big stuff. With an upgrade like Live 10, obviously there's a ton of smaller stuff that I want to touch on in future videos. Also, we have not covered any of the new instruments or devices and sounds. Those are all coming up in my next video. So stick with us and stay tuned. Whew! All right, well there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Ableton Live 10. So much good new stuff. I can't wait to dig deeper into a lot of these upgrades and to really put the program through its paces. I will be posting more videos, so to make sure you stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you enable notifications so you get the heads up when I post something new. For now, I'd love it if you commented and let me know what you think, as well as anything specific that you'd like me to cover. If you have questions or you want me to go over something in more detail, I'm happy to do that in an upcoming video. For now, I'm out. I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.